Say you don't like it, no, no you don't like it. Let me read it, let me read. Say you don't like it, no, no you don't like it. Let me rewrite it, let me read. Say you don't like it, no, no you don't like it. Let me rewrite it, let me read. Say you don't like it, no you don't like it, no. Let me rewrite it, let me in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition, the first edition in quite some time of the Rewriters Room. We are the men with the pen, but I do want to eventually come up with a moniker that not only discusses our aptitude for writing stories, but our aptitude for telling the actual future of the WWE. And I'm going to get into that when I talk later on, but I just think like when you look at our resume and things that we've predicted, regardless of when it has happened, a lot of these things have happened. And so us as a trio, we can workshop a proper moniker to determine not only our ability to write creative stories, but our ability to come up with stuff that actually happens. But of course, I am 1/3 of our illustrious trio, Armand Sadler, still the Brock Lesnar of broadcasting, still the Roman Reigns of rhetoric, still the Paul Heyman of podcasting, and still the John Cena of journalism. And I'm so thrilled to be back with my guys. CC Chan, how the fuck are you feeling?
R.I.P. What's good? R.I.P. That was for Paul Heyman, by the way. R.I.P. to Paul Heyman. What's good to CC, the best rapper and producer in the whole wide world. God body, because I consume healthy products and do tile grows. Benevolent servant to the earth and philanthropist. And every phrase I say is a gem like amethyst. You could put any nigga next to me, and dope ass women gonna be like, "What man is this?" I may talk a lot, but I got one thing to say: love yourself and keep going. You are the world, so give all you can. Take care of your body and your land. What the fuck, my nigga Chan?
I got 6 words for you, man. You are not my tribal chief.
Mm.
Woo! You want to talk about a man carrying a program? A man who said, "No, Roman's gone, but you need an actor to step up. You need someone to cut a scene." That wise man's been working, man. Shout out to him, bro. Shout out to one of the best in the business. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame, so like he has exactly the stuff. But just I feel like personally, I was a bit, I'm not the biggest solo guy, although he has grown on me. I do like suits and gloves. It's grown on me some. But I think Paul has done a big job of stepping up, carrying a lot of like the emotion that I think sometimes like Roman and Jay would have to do. And I think Paul's done a really good job. And I just feel like he should get his flowers for that because he's really, especially as someone who doesn't wrestle at all, like it's really just facial emotions and talking. He's done a great job of carrying that kind of like when Jay was freaking out, like that anxiety. He's done a good job of kind of carrying that and flipping it to kind of this new thing with Solo. I really got to shut that out. I can't get enough of that clip. It's so good.
No, absolutely, man. It was special to be at WrestleMania and see Paul get inducted in his induction speech. I haven't watched too many Hall of Fames throughout my life, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say his induction speech was one of the greatest ever, with really not many to compare it to. And I do also want to give flowers to Solo, but we are bearing the lead. We will get into all of that later. It is so good to be back with you all, listeners. And we are not coming back the same way that we were before. From here on out, Rewriters Room is going to be a lot more focused, a lot more thematic. And honestly, with what Chan was just talking about, it aligns with what this season of the Rewriters Room will be focused on. We just finished multiple chapters of an ongoing story that's still going. It's never going to end, but we just finished a very significant chapter of the Bloodline story. And so this season of Rewriters Room will look at everything from Roman Reigns' return to the WWE in 2020 to the very end of his historic Universal WWE Undisputed Universal title reign at WrestleMania 40. So many different chapters, so many different layers, so much different character development. And I'm really excited to see us really break it down step by step and talk about these significant moments. And with us wanting to not overwhelm you all, we're not going to get to every single significant moment, but we are covering a lot over the course of this season, and I'm really excited to get into it. Also, we will be changing the structure of our show a bit as well. So you guys will be getting the rewrite sooner within the show, and we will get to the pre-write in our Patreon segment later on within the show. So just, and you'll get it once you listen and once you stay locked in with us. But there are some changes coming, but we promise that they're purposeful, and the entertainment and the chaos will absolutely not stop. So with that said, let's jump into before we rewrite. It used to be before we write, but now it's before we rewrite. Because the trivia is not leaving. Well, one thing that is not leaving, I'm not just going to give up my undefeated, undisputed trivia champion title. You know what I'm saying? So that is staying. And eventually these guys will get a chance to contend with me and possibly give me a loss, take the title. But for now,
this man talking crazy right now.
And it just so happens that I'm wearing one of Roman's one of the shirts that he had when he returned in 2020. So I'm definitely feeling like the tribal chief of our trivia extravaganza. But yeah, man, hey man, I really hope you guys bring it this season. It's just starting to get a little boring at the top. You feel me?
I do have to apologize. I was not familiar with their game.
Hey, man, it's okay. It's all right, bro. It's all right. You're the best rapping producer in the whole wide world. I'm the best question answer in the whole wide world. And Channing is the best banter in the whole wide world. And that's why we are who we are. And that's why we come together as an elite trio. But to get into this trivia, first question. What was Roman Reigns' first branded shirt when he returned at SummerSlam 2020? So specifically, what was the quote on the shirt?
Wreck everybody and leave.
Ooh,
it's everybody, wasn't it?
It was wreck. I think it was wreck everyone and leave.
I said everyone.
Yeah, I said everybody. So yeah, he got that.
I'm a double check, but I'm pretty sure it was wreck everyone. It was wreck everyone and leave. So CC, you get those points. CC is on the board. Okay, all right, starting off strong. CC. Question number 2. Who were the last 5 Universal Champions before Roman Reigns won the title at Payback 2020? You can say them. I mean,
Braun, Goldberg.
Wait.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Fiend, Braun, Goldberg, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins.
Fiend, Braun, Goldberg, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. You got 4 out of the 5.
Oh man, Brock Lesnar. But Brock Lesnar instead of Kevin Owens. No, instead of Seth Rollins.
No, actually, you're right. You're right. It was Brock Lesnar.
Because
Brock cashed in on Seth to win it, and then Seth won it back, and then Seth lost to the Fiend, and then Fiend lost to Goldberg, and then Goldberg lost to Braun, and then technically Fiend won it back, so Fiend counts 2 reigns. So you got it, the last 5. All right, good shit, Chan. Good shit. So that is Chan on the board with 1 point.
What a silly title that was.
CC on the board with 1 point. Technically, that should have been a multi-point question, but Chan blurred them all out. So I'm just gonna give you one. I'm gonna just give you 1 point for that. At Payback 2020, when Roman Reigns had the no holds barred triple threat match against Braun Strowman and the Fiend, what weapon did he enter the ring with?
A chair.
Chan got it. Got it. Okay, but you know what? I prepared a tiebreaker if needed. I'm gonna just say it anyways. What did the Fiend Bray Wyatt call Adam Pearce when he entered the Firefly Funhouse to get Bray Wyatt to sign the contract for the no holds barred triple threat match at Payback 2020? There was a specific nickname.
Oh man, that's a deep cut, bro. I did watch one Firefly Funhouse just to feel something, but I didn't watch that one.
This is a very specific one.
It was like, I know it was, so I don't even care about getting it right. I want us to just like remember what it is. All right. That's what I care about. Yeah. So I remember it being, if I'm not mistaken, it was very much in the theme of like how he would talk on the Firefly Funhouse. So think like the Yowie Wowie stuff, whatever. I believe it was 2 things. And he like, I don't want to say it was Piercy or something like, but it was like Saddam Madam, something like that. I felt like it was something like that. I don't know.
So
I don't know if I'm just.
There was some, what's that literary device?
Alliteration?
Alliteration. There was
I
alliteration.
Knew it, see?
Within the nickname.
Angry Adam?
No.
Did he call him Poopy Pierce? I just feel like that's a weird thing he would say.
I was
Not
going
Poopy.
there. I was going there too.
Okay.
Like I was
Not
gonna say like
Poopy.
I was gonna say like PP Pierce. I was
But-
like
Yeah,
literally going
I just
there.
immediately went to the kids thing, like
Yeah.
the stupid things.
Piggy Pierce.
But he does use his last name. So that's a hint. It's something that starts with a P. It's not Piggy.
I was about to say something crazy, but kids
Yeah,
listen to
no,
this.
exactly. How wild was Vince getting? How wild was Vince getting? Because you gotta remember, this was like Vince era, so he was really doing a lot.
This is why, I'm like, they could have happened.
It could have happened.
There's two hints that I can give. I'm trying to decide which one is better, but not as direct. All right. Think Joel Santana songs.
Why was that Puerto Rico Pierce?
Wait, I feel like I'm thinking too hard.
Oh, what's my Dipset catalog?
I'm trying to do this off top instead of going right to
Yeah, right. I don't want to Google it. Yeah,
because I can go on my iTunes and go crazy right now, but I do not want to do that.
Think about the song Oh Yes.
Oh, Postman Pierce?
There you go.
Hey.
Postman
That makes
Pierce.
sense. Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah, because it was in the vein of the Firefly Funhouse. So it was like, yeah, hey guys, it's Postman. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's why I was thinking that.
Because he brings the news. Yeah.
And Vince made him put on like a uniform, like
Yeah.
a literal postman uniform.
That show's hilarious.
Okay, I need another tiebreaker. All right, so what? Damn, I should have prepared a fifth one, knowing that I was gonna possibly use this. Okay. This is skipping. I'm skipping a little ahead though. Oh, no. What were the three matches that Braun Strowman and The Fiend competed in when they were fighting over the Universal Championship before Roman Reigns returned?
They had the
Last Man
house
Standing.
show or yeah.
They had a what?
Last Man Standing is what he said, and they had the
It was not Last Man Standing. Nah.
They had like the one. It was like the swamp fight.
So swamp is correct. All right.
Yeah,
Chan got a point
because it was for no title. He just threw him in a lake. They had a regular match at first. Their first match was a regular match. And
yes,
then
it was normal. Yep.
Damn,
then they had the no holds bar match with the Roman. Would that be the third one?
Oh, that's what it was just called?
It would not, because there was the match they had.
A SummerSlam match.
Yeah, where Fiend won and then Roman returned. But what type of match was it?
Oh, triple threat match.
No,
it was just a regular.
Oh wait, no, you're talking about just them two.
Oh,
sorry, I thought you were talking about matches
Falls
that
Count Anywhere match.
Falls Count Anywhere. Yes, correct. There you go. There you go.
Because this was they was Thunderdome. They was in Gorilla. I remember. I watched part of this. Yeah.
Big Thunderdome.
You know what's crazy? So. I just thought Fiend and Braun and immediately went to wildest shit in my head. I was just like, I
watched that swamp match, bro. It's like the Firefly Funhouse with John Cena was a banger.
I think I suppressed it.
Yeah, and it was COVID, so I get they was doing a lot with the cinematic matches, but like they dragged it. They at that point they had dragged
swamp
it.
Match was OD.
Yeah, I suppressed it.
It was OD.
They dragged it.
But taking our first trivia victory of the year, Young Chan. All right, so
me and Bray, me and Fiend, like this.
Yeah, no, of course I should have known. So our first rewrite is going to focus on everything that took place in Roman Reigns' game-shifting return. And this was such an interesting time for the WWE, COVID era. So they're in the PC, and then they eventually moved into the Thunderdome. Roman was gone. Sami Zayn had left. A lot of people were in and out. Shows were taped. They were had to clean the ropes after every match, and then they jump into the Thunderdome, and you're getting piped in noise, and just getting all this different stuff. And this was also around the time of Retribution. And so a lot of people anticipated Retribution would be the big angle for that SummerSlam 2020. And Drew and Randy Orton went on earlier in the WWE Championship match. Drew ended up beating him by a backslide, and you got no interference there. So you're like, oh, shit, it's going to happen in the main event during Bray and Braun's match. And then Bray and Braun go at each other in the Falls Count Anywhere match. The Fiend ends up winning, and he's getting the title. You're getting the graphic new champion, and then you see Fiend look to the left, and he gets blasted by a spear. And you don't know who it is at first because the camera angle is so good. It's like similar to that angle when CM Punk came in to be special ref during Drew and Damian's match. It's behind him. So like you don't really see it at first. And then Roman flips his hair up and you see, oh shit, that's Roman. And like new teeth, he's more swole, he's wearing a new shirt.
No best.
These black pants. Like it's just
starting off with new teeth is crazy.
Hey man, I mean it was noticeable. It was very noticeable compared to his old not so nice looking, chiclets. It was very noticeable. But it was just an automatic like energy shifting. People felt like the power was back. People felt like WWE was about to go on an upward trajectory, despite it still being COVID, despite them being in the Thunderdome, no audiences. Like there was just this renewed energy. And then we got some pretty epic stuff over the course of that next week. Like a lot happened in just 1 week of Roman being back. And so I want to open it up for y'all to offer your rewrites for the situation first.
I'll go first. So we're talking August 2020, just to give you guys reference. So this is going to be just a key thing. Just want to let you know where I'm coming at this season. So partially because I don't like the fact that the Fiend lost, I'm taking him out of this feud. He's going to go feud with Jeff Hardy. And in his stead is your reigning king of the ring, King Corbin. So, the way we're heading into SummerSlam, basically King Corbin, who at the time was kind of palling around with, at first it was Dolph and Bobby Roode, but then it kind of pivoted to Cesaro and Shinsuke. He had lost in the Royal Rumble. He had lost Money in the Bank. That's when Otis won Money in the Bank. So this is silly stuff is happening. So you may think, oh, Baron Corbin being in the Universal top picture, that's crazy, but Otis was the Money in the Bank winner. So let's relax. So basically, he comes up. He's like, hey, I'm going to invoke my king clause. I want a title shot. I want Braun at, SummerSlam. So he helps. Again, he's aided by Cesaro and Shinsuke. He gets his match at SummerSlam. In my kind of opinion, the match itself functions similar to how it did with Roman's return. Because like you said, that Roman return is just so really well done. Even the whole tagline of SummerSlam was you'll never see it coming. And even that, you didn't see it coming. So I think that was just really beautifully well done. So Roman comes back. Now Baron Corbin has lost his title shot. He's pissed. He's like, this isn't fair. And to get kind of his title shot back, he tells, Adam Pearce, hey, I will put my crown on the line if I can get another shot at Braun. And then remember at the time, kind of like Armand was alluding to, a lot was going on. And a big part of what was going on was Roman aligns himself with Paul Heyman. And so that still kind of happens. But in my version, Baron Corbin also tries to get Paul Heyman. He's like, I'm the king. You should work with me. So there's a little bit of a power struggle where it never really feels like Paul's going to go with Baron, but Baron is very advocating for I need someone like you in my corner. And then there's also kind of the pull of Adam Pearce basically trying to get them all to sign this contract. I feel like part of which is what just my personal feelings, the issue with the Fiend, it was that him dealing with the Roman stuff was just too much. Roman just really overshadowed him. And so I think Baron Corbin functioning that role just kind of makes more sense. You could do more comedy. Also, if you remember at this time, before Roman left, Baron was one of the few people to actually have beaten Roman. He had beat him at TLC in 2019. Also, there was the famous kind of dog food thing. And so Baron does kind of have this angle of kind of goading Roman to get into the match too, being he's afraid of me. That's why he did that. I beat him straight up. You guys are so afraid of Roman. Roman's not nothing. And so eventually Braun, as a champion, accepts both challenges. He, signs both titles. But again, the crown is on the line. So we have a triple threat match at Payback with Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, and Roman Reigns. Similar to how that kind of match went, where Roman didn't sign the contract halfway through the match, basically. So Braun and Baron are getting to it. Shinsuke and Cesaro try and kind of interfere. But then when Roman comes out, he really does the whole wreck everyone and leave. He beats all four of them. I think that really gives it to a really nice visual where at the end of the match, he's knocked out Cesaro. He's knocked out Shinsuke with spears. He's putting Cesaro through the table because I feel like you guys are too on Cesaro and he needs to be put in his place. And then as a nice little callback, because against a triple threat match, no DQ, he gets the handcuffs and he handcuffs Baron Corbin to the ring post, kind of like he did with the dog food. But he pump face like he's about to go get the dog food, but doesn't. Him and then Braun kind of battle out mano y mano. It kind of seems like Braun's kind of getting some swag, getting his juice back, gets him for a power slam. Roman slides off the back, low blow. Braun kind of bends over and really solidifying himself as a heel. Roman does like the power up spear where he bounces off the two ropes, spears Braun, pins him. Now he's our new champion. So that's really my whole rewrite. I just feel like if you put Baron Corbin or King Corbin at this point in that storyline, it functions better because of the history he has with him. And also, if you guys remember too, this is when we get to like Broke Boy Corbin. And I feel like Baron Corbin losing that match really gives you a good offer to be like, yeah, I've lost everything. I lost my crown. I lost, the top world title twice. I've lost Royal Rumble. I've lost everything. And I think that really cements it because in the real world, he loses a match to Shinsuke Nakamura and loses his crown, which is cool, but like, would that really break you? But I think losing to Roman, having Paul like basically pawn him off. Oh, and also like at the end of the match, Roman has the crown. He just like tosses it. He doesn't even want it. And so really just kind of throwing it in Baron's face that like, you're nothing to me. And I think we get a nice Broke Boy Corbin run, which I really did love at the time. And I think you kind of save the Fiend and keep him spooky because it felt like with the Fiend, there was just so many false starts, whether it was, the Seth Rollins, I'm going to pile a bunch of chairs on you, or like the Wrestlemania match with Randy where it was a really cool entrance and he lost because he like didn't move or something. It was because Alexa Bliss showed up. I feel like giving him Jeff Hardy, feeding him that is much cooler, and then you get Baron Corbin a nice look. So that's my rewrite. You kind of keep the same storyline, but I think you give King Corbin, because I also feel like too, giving the King of the Ring a world title shot just feels right. I feel like that kind of storyline works well too.
I feel it. I feel it. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I feel like it was so well done that rewriting this, like I felt almost nitpicky in trying to find
Right.
different things for them to do. So mine is like pretty simple. So at SummerSlam 2020, when it's Bray versus Fiend, instead of Roman coming after the match to beat up the Fiend, Roman interrupts the match and beats both Fiend and Braun to a pulp to where it's a no contest and Braun is still champion. I did that just because like that 1 week Fiend run did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like I get it, like he won the feud with Braun in the end, but what did he really gain when he lost the title a week later? And they just completely went away from any potential of Roman and Fiend going at one another. So Roman interrupts the match, beats them both up, holds up the title, and signals that he's coming back for the title that he never lost. On the next SmackDown, that's when they go through the whole contract signing. Pierce has to go find each one of them to get them to sign the contract. Fiend and Braun are both on the hunt for Roman. Fiend Bray Wyatt is pissed because Roman took his chance to get the title. Braun is pissed because like he beat regular Bray Wyatt in their first match, and then he lost to Fiend in the Swamp match. So he wants the opportunity to actually beat the Fiend, and Roman has been a thorn in his side throughout his entire career. So Roman's presence just gets him incensed. So Pierce makes both of them to sign the contracts. He finds Roman at the end of the show. Roman says he's not going to sign until specific changes are made to the contract, but there's no Paul Heyman appearance on that SmackDown. So Payback 2020 comes. Fiend and Braun start the match. Of course, they're going at it. No holds barred, triple threat match. They both still break the ring. As they're laying there trying to regain themselves, standing up, then Paul Heyman comes out. But this leads people, the virtual audience in the Thunderdome, commentary, people watching at home, they're like, yo, is Brock back? Whoa, like Brock's coming back already? What? Get out of here. But then people also think, because they're expecting a Retribution to come out, they're like, is Paul Heyman leading Retribution? So Paul Heyman does his, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and you know me as the advocate for the beast, Brock Lesnar. But moving forward, I am the special counsel to your future reigning, defending WWE Heavyweight Universal Champion of the world, Roman Reigns. And then Roman's old music hits. Roman comes out, chair in one hand, contract in the other hand. He hands the contract to Paul. Paul pulls out a pen. Paul holds a contract for him. Roman signs the contract, still does that dope pen toss. I don't know if y'all remember that the way he tossed the pen. It was so swaggy. Like you just knew. You just knew like he was different from the way he tossed that pen. So he tosses it. He comes in the ring, beats them both down, low blows. Fiend does get him with the mandible claw at one point. Roman hits him with a low blow. Spear, still pins Braun. After the match, Fiend gets up. Fiend tries to attack Roman. Then Retribution comes out. Retribution beats the shit out of the Fiend. And Roman is standing at the top of the stage at this point with Paul Heyman holding up his title. Roman winks at the guys at Retribution, showing that he knew like he was going to face some monsters. So Roman knew like he might have some trouble when he comes in and wins this match. So he hired Retribution for the night to take care of the Fiend. Fiend goes on to feud with Retribution, which eliminates any chance of a Fiend-Roman rematch because no one wanted to see that Roman-Fiend feud anyways. So Fiend goes on to feud with Retribution. Roman is here now. Braun got to figure it out. Braun gets a rematch a couple weeks later, which we're not gonna talk about anymore. We're not talking about Braun anymore after this night. But just very like small, minute detail changes to still kind of completely avoid any type of Fiend-Roman story to make people wait a little bit for the Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns union, and also to just not burn a Fiend title reign, which there was no point to it. So that's my rewrite.
The misdirect was fire with him coming out and people, because people would be like, "Oh, bro," or the people would be like, "Oh, who is he linking with?" Like people would just like that 30 seconds would be so crazy on the internet. That would be so fire. And like what you said was really true. Like I never really thought of it, but yeah, it was like Roman, like for as much as he won, and even how player the Shield was, Roman was not player until he came back as a tribal chief. Like he was just not that cool, and I don't know why. Because like you look at him, it's like, I mean, he seems like a cool dude. Like he's played football, he likes cool moveset, but like
Suffering
he just
succotash wasn't cool to you?
yeah, the promos were terrible. You're right. That was part of it. But like it was just so just the way the like you said, you could just feel by the way he was walking, the way he was dressed, like, oh, something flipped where like you found because like Dean had it. Like he just was player when he wanted to and almost lost it the longer he was in WWE. Seth can turn it on. When Seth wants to be player, it's automatic. But Roman, but when it clicked, it was like, oh yeah, like this guy is this guy is so cool. Like it was just like even without before he got the title, it was like because the Universal title itself, it looked kind of stupid. It was gigantic and blue, but he made that cool. And it was just really a testament to like, yeah, his just aura really shifted. And he hasn't lost that since, which is great. But yeah, that was just so his presence was different. So I really like that part about it too.
Yeah, no, I like both of y'all rewrites. Them shits was fire. And I love how like y'all pointed out how the story as it was originally written was so good that it was like hard to touch it and you don't really want to like do anything to it. Which was exactly my sentiment. And I had the feeling that you guys would do an incredible job like you did, which is why I'm gonna run an 18-wheeler through this wall of reality and sanity real quick. No, but really, I'm gonna keep it a lot the skeletal parts a lot of the same. It's just really the motivation and angle that I want to change, right? So we still get the episode where we get Paul and Roman would believe that. But the trick is like we don't end the episode there, right? We have 2 minutes overrun. And after Adam like leaves or whatever, Roman's like, we can get out, because you know how he likes to just leave whenever he's done. He's like, hey, we can just get out of here or whatever. And as he's walking out, like Jay was just about to like walk in and like, say what's up to him, be like, oh man, like one, like you back, like, whoa, you with Paul, man? Like, what we doing? Like, hey, cuz, blah, blah. And Roman's like super like cold shoulder, like damn near never met you type, type shit or whatever. So Jay's like, what's going on there or whatever. And then Roman just keeps walking. And then Jay goes to follow him. And then like Paul's like stops and puts his hand to his chest. And like Paul tells Jay that Roman's shoulders are big enough to carry the family and he doesn't need any help. And then Jay just looks really disappointed. And that's how we end the episode. So we get to Payback or whatever. Fiend and Braun still goes the same way. We still get the Roman Spear, but right after Roman Spear, when he does his, his celebration, whatever, the Tron comes on or whatever, and it's Adam Pearce, and he says, "Oh yeah, Roman, by the way," or whatever. Roman's looking like real surprised, as we've known him to look. He says, "By the way, since you took so long to sign the contract, I forgot to tell you I had an up until the bell option for a backup just in case." Roman turns around and gets super fucking kicked because Jay is now in this. It's a fatal four-way for the championship. Let's go. So then Braun power slam Jay, and then Fiend like hits the mandible claw on Braun. Then Roman spears the Fiend again. So it actually ends up ending the exact same way, and he ends up winning. And then I just wanted to continue this because I really wanted to show what the angle I wanted to take was with this. You know how Roman and Jay eventually get at it or whatever? Like Roman actually like murders him in this version or whatever. And he actually tells Jimmy in the ring where you can hear it or whatever, because we still in lockdown or whatever. He tells him that the chair of the tribal chief can only be held by one man, and that one man is Roman Reigns. So like he has a new catchphrase, the chair of the tribal chief. It's like the office of the president type of shit, the chair of the tribal chief. And his new character is this exact same kind of like Roman or whatever, but he's like Mad Emperor Roman, to where instead of like people pulling up on him and then him like trying to get the one up on him, he's proactively going after people who he sees as a threat to his throne. Boom.
That's fire. I like that too because like I think it gives you a bit of an angle where it makes Jay seem more ambitious instead of
Yeah,
just like totally little brother. It makes him seem like no, like I was really trying to do this, and also like this is
yeah,
quasi related. But one of my favorite things about the Usos tag team in their little entrance is it's not paranoia, it's the Usos. And it's that thing too of Roman being like that paranoia of like, all these niggas is trying to take me. Everyone's out to
yes,
get me because I am the
yes,
tribal chief. And I think that's a
yeah,
cool, we haven't really had a champion like that. Like we've had some like monster champions, but like
yeah,
we haven't had a champion progressively like, no, I need to get him out the way because he's gonna come
yeah,
and get me first. It's like that paranoia in a champion would be really interesting for a heel because it would drive him to do, like you said, a lot of vicious stuff, not because I want to or because like, I feel like it's what I need to do to win. It's because it's like, oh, if not, he's gonna do it to me. So I gotta get him
yep.
out the way. And I
Yeah,
was like,
and I didn't mean to like jump ahead, but I wanted to like show like this
yeah,
is like how it, this is the motivation. It's like rather than, coming in and saying like I'm the tribal chief or whatever, and like, again, playing like the I'm gonna get one over on people, but I'm really like pulling away and letting them pull up on me or whatever. His thing is, well, in getting the universal championship in and of itself, he already had a threat, and it came from quote unquote within. So
right.
now he has this, oh no, this is what I'm on. So like even like as he celebrates or whatever, he's like, this isn't like a walkout celebration where he, he just walks out. He is like he's going crazy off rip. You see that breakdown immediately, and that's like an example of some things that could happen down the line. But like, yeah, that's the angle I want to go
Yeah,
with.
it
Yeah,
plants a lot of seeds. I like it.
that's fire, and I think that'll be an interesting continuous thread throughout all these chapters that we have as more opponents pop up. Because the Jay thing was always interesting to me. Like Roman gets him into the Fatal Four Way to qualify, but then like beats his ass for the next two matches, and like I think Jay still has some of that ambition that Chan was talking about, but I don't know. It's like I liked it. I thought it was really good, and it was a really good way to like solidify the tribal chief character. But I don't know. I don't know. It was always like a little. I don't want to say weird, but it was just interesting to me. So I
Yeah,
think
Here's
so I think painting Jay as someone who was like willing to go right at him because they had those 2 weeks where they were tagging together. It was more like a friendly familial competition for Jay. And then
right.
there's that episode before the Clash match where Roman Superman punches him, is like, like I put the food on the table. You're not built for this. This is why I hold this. You don't. So Roman is the one who kind of flips the switch between them. But if Jay is the one who really like comes at the throne and creates that paranoia you were talking about, I think that creates an even better feud between the both of them, like showing like, yeah, blood is thick, like we're family, but Jay not only says like I'm capable of being champion, but Jay shows the lengths he's willing to go to get that title, even when
starts
Roman
with
is
super kicking this nigga off, not even
Yeah.
talking to him about I also want to go for it. But here's the cherry on top. Here's the added benefit that goes with all of this. It protects all of the three other people. Now, you know how a lot of people had an issue with like how the Fiend and like even Braun, even though like I don't know if people cared as much, but especially like for people how much they like the character of the Fiend, how it kind of like just kind of pushed them off to the side. This like really pushes them off to the side because in his own match, a new storyline literally gets prioritized and like develops. So I think it could add another level of the Fiend character to him. So where like now he can like potentially come after Jay because maybe he sees Jay as like the reason. And now the other added benefit of that is you get main event Jay Uso sooner because now he's being made by going through these kind of challenges. And then Braun's sitting way in the back saying, wait, what the hell? What? Or whatever. So now he's got even more of a motivation. And for me, I always wanted to see like real, like smart, slimy, but I will also tear everything down in here, heel Braun. You know what I mean? Like I don't, to me, like the hey, the crowd is everything, you know, see me punch these people. That Braun I'm not as much into as the Braun that will literally pull up on the ring outside of the ring and then just stare at you and then just climb over the ring. That guy, I like that guy. So that's what I was hoping to get out of it. It would just ripple effect. Everybody can go their own way, and we can kind of still get the same things that we already had later down the line.
I love it.
Sure.
I love it. Yeah, these are great. So I'm interested in seeing how these evolve over time again because this is just 1 week. Like this is literally just 1 week. Like SummerSlam was Sunday, SmackDown was the following Friday, Payback was that next Sunday. So our next rewrites, we will be getting into the Jey Uso chapter of it all. You know, Jay getting the Fatal 4-Way match, Jay facing Roman at Clash, Jay facing Roman at Hell in a Cell, an I Quit match inside Hell in a Cell, the return of Jimmy Uso, and how he was included in those matches. He wasn't, you know, he didn't return to in-ring competition, but he played a factor in those initial Roman and Jay interactions before Jay, you know, ultimately becomes the right-hand man. So very interested in just how these continue. But strong start for our rewrites. And I guess we got to come up with a new name for pre-write since we're now doing that after the rewrite. So that'll be another name that we workshop. But I do want to get into our pre-write. You know, this is where we discuss recent storylines, things that we enjoy. And obviously we've missed a lot. We missed Royal Rumble. We missed the return of CM Punk. We missed Cody Rhodes finishing his story, the return of The Rock. There's so many different things that we can touch on. And we're going to get into all that throughout the rest of the season. But I do want to start. Timing is crazy. So today, as I was preparing for this episode, I wanted to go back and listen to one of our old episodes. And I just so happened to land upon an episode from July 2022. And in that episode, we're talking about one Liv Morgan. And we're talking about how she's improved in ring. We're talking about how her character work still needed a little bit. And Cece said something brilliant, which has come to fruition in that she has turned heel. And I think when we look at Monday Night Raw right now, the biggest story is the Liv Morgan Judgment Day story. And I think if you would have told someone 2 years ago, yo, Liv Morgan is going to be carrying multiple segments of Monday Night Raw, you would have been like, okay, so did Roman, Becky, Seth, Cody,
what happened to Raw?
Like, did everyone retire? Like, what's going on? But, and you know, it's like, I find myself like in the middle with Liv. Like, I do really like her. I do think she's really talented. There are some huge stands of her, which wanted her in this position years ago. And then there are some people who think she shouldn't be in this position at all. But I think when you look at her character work, when you look at the story they were able to tell with Becky in Liv getting the title, the interactions with Dom Mysterio, and it seemed like such a very straightforward, oh, Liv and Dom are going to get together. But they've really done a good job of holding off on it and showing Dom be conflicted, showing Liv interacting with the entirety of Judgment Day, to the point where like she's only had one match since she got the title. It was defending against Zelina, which was a really good match, by the way, like a really good match. But it's something J5 and Meals are talking about on the A show. Like she's elevated herself through her character work. For a while, we were like, what is Liv's character? And it's still not even a fully outlined character, but her motivations have been clear. It's been Liv Morgan Revenge Tour since January, and she said she was going to take everything from Rhea. And so she was able to defeat Becky for the title, who won the title via a battle royale because Rhea was injured. But she's still finding ways to affect Rhea's life without Rhea being on screen in messing with the Judgment Day, making Dominic Mysterio be conflicted. Finn Balor seems to be all but like publicly on her side. JD, Damian Priest, like it's just I got to give her a lot of credit, and I got to say for everyone who has had slander for New Jersey throughout my life, if you are enjoying this Liv Morgan and Judgment Day story, you are enjoying the product of New Jersey. So show some respect, you give us some flowers, because this isn't very enjoyable TV. I'm really happy to see her step up to the plate in this way. I never think injuries are a good thing, but I do think that time off, she talked about it in an interview with Sports Illustrated. She just really sat and thought about what she wanted for her career, ways that she could improve. And so her injury helped her, and then Rhea's injury has also helped her because now she can, and Becky, taking time off, Liv is the focal point of that Raw women's division. Like she is the top woman on that roster right now, in terms of people who are healthy. And we know Rhea's going to be back soon. I'm interested in what they're going to do because I don't think Rhea's going to win the title back immediately. Like I do think they need to create that chaos between them where Damian gets booted from the Judgment Day, and it's Damian and Rhea versus everyone else. Finn finally, opens up about the fact he's working with Liv. Dom chooses Liv, like just all of that. Like I think there are a lot of interesting things they can do, and I trust Triple H to tell that in a more long form type of way. But I definitely just want to give Liv a lot of credit because I was very critical of her. I saw the potential, and it wasn't there yet. But I think her in ring has gotten better, and her character work. This is the perfect character for her.
Something real quick, something you said when we were talking about Rhea being injured and how it's helping her. And then earlier you were talking about how she's continuing that storyline of, messing with Dom, involving Rhea while she's out. And it just popped in my head or whatever. I was like, hey, Liv has gotten so good. She's getting people who are not on screen over.
Bro, come on, man. JD over. JD.
Bro.
McDonough on TV all the time. Carlito was with LWO. I ain't seen him. He joined Judgment Day. He on TV every Monday.
I gotta admit, I don't have WWE 24. I almost bought it. Just the scenes, just them boys playing it and everything going on. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should.
Bro, and I'm not one to harken back to the Attitude Era a lot. I feel like people get annoying with that. But her character does feel very Lita coded, but like in a better way. Like I feel like Lita was involved. A lot of these storylines were like she might not even have been champion, but she is involved in not a purely woman storyline, but she's a very key part of it. Whether it was the Hardys, Kane, Edge, and it's very that to me, and it's like a much more tasteful version of that. And I feel like that is like a good role because I feel like oftentimes when we think of like the most poppin' woman, we need them to be like Trish Stratus or Chyna. And it's like there's other things that you can do to get on and get over. And again, I'm kind of similar to you, Armand. Like I'm not gonna front like I was the biggest Liv person from the beginning. But to say she has not grown, you would just be lying. Like you would, even if you're not the biggest Liv fan today, you're just lying to yourself. You're like, oh, I see how she's gotten here and the journey she's been on, and I can give somebody respect for that. Like you said, when everybody comes back, I don't know what's gonna happen, but for right now, for what we need, that she is really operating a very strong space, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
All I needed to see was the chokeout to be convinced. I knew it right there. I was like, I know a real one when I see it. And when that come out, it's gonna be crazy.
Can you remember when she was like fucking with Lana and Bobby Lashley? Do you remember they had her doing that, bro?
Yeah.
Like how far we've come.
Yeah.
How far her homeworking has come.
And it was really hard to visualize her as a heel before it was in this iteration. Like she was in Riot Squad, they were heels, but she was a heel within a faction. And right. Ruby was the voice. Ruby was the leader. Liv was always the one that people saw as the future star, but the pathway to it, you didn't really know like what it was going to be. So for her to be operating this way on her own, it's great. It's really great. So I got to give the creative and her a lot of credit for building her in this way. I do see people kind of complaining about the reign itself and that
for sure.
The reign isn't about the title and the title kind of seems secondary. And Yeah, I get that. But you got to look at that division also. Without Becky, without Rhea, there's a lot of injuries. Carmella's still not back. Sonya Deville's not wrestling. Alexa Bliss isn't back. They don't really have viable baby faces. Like Zelina's a good first opponent. Rhea faced Zelina first when she won the title at Backlash. Zelina was her first opponent. But like, you don't want to burn a Liv Lyra match like already. You don't want. I don't think you want Lyra to lose a title match this soon. And the other baby faces, it's the Bottle Girls. It's I can't even think of the other baby faces on Raw right now because they're
They're
not
on
a big
SmackDown.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone you're thinking of is on SmackDown.
it's a very heel woman led show, and so they're finding a way to make Liv still a huge deal. Like you said, getting over an eventual babyface Rhea without her being there, and Liv still doing great. So yeah, I got to give them a lot of credit.
If there was ever a Natalia, you know, women's pro heavyweight championship match that was going to happen, it would have been right now. They'd have put Natty right in that spot. They could have. But I'll go next. Speaking of spots, one thing I've been clamoring for, and one thing that they finally did, which I was super stoked about, they split the tag titles. But I think it's time to have a real conversation. I think, and I'm never a fan of just like putting somebody down forever. But I feel like kind of similar with Liv, we need to stop trying to make Austin Theory happen. I just don't. I don't know. I know what you guys see, but I think it's similar to a lot of your faves, kind of like a Drew or a Cody, where it's like it needs something else. It needs some seasoning because I feel like obviously not necessarily in ring, but character wise, Grayson Waller has like left him in a matter of months. Where it's like Grayson Waller is so much more interesting. Grayson Waller has been on the main roster for a year, if that. And so that's part of your issue over there. I think on the World Tag side, I think I love my black brothers. I never want to speak, ill of, R-Truth. But I do think there is a level of overexposure that you can have with R-Truth. And I think he does better in smaller doses or as like bit players. I think him as the champion is funny, but I do think it takes something away from the actual titles. And so I do think it's time to get some real tag teams back into the picture. It seems like New Day's kind of busy, but I wouldn't hate the Creeds. I wouldn't hate, when the Usos come back if they get involved in that. I just feel like there needs and DIY is cool. Like they're very charismatic, but I do think that similar to what we saw with the mid card, where when you have a dominant champion who can really elevate, a whole division just with one title, it really does wonders for their whole roster. I think the tag titles are in need of that. And I do think that, again, someone like the Creed, especially with Gable, or, I don't think that the Wyatt Six should be going for belts now that I think about it. But I think if you got a legitimate tag team and had some real feuds that you put some time into, I think you could really, breathe life back into the tag division. Because I think we're close with the new belts. But unfortunately, the two teams who won, the wins were very cool. But I feel like the actual storylines and everything that's come since has not really popped off. And I feel like the issue is that, like, it's all four of them are people that people like. Like, everyone likes The Miz, everyone likes R-Truth, everyone likes Grayson Waller. People want me to like Austin Theory. And so it's just like, I think we need to be honest and like, yes, I know you don't want to see another New Day tag team title run, but people love the New Day. And the New Day have good matches and they can hold them until you find something better for them to do. And so I think it's that time.
Here's the thing about the New Day that people love them, but they ain't really like hot right now. Like
No,
Monday when they came off of that cross match, it was pretty dry in there. And granted, them not having Big E, I think, takes a lot away from the excitement around them. But
they never
how they would look better. You know how they would look better? They might look better in 4K.
Ooh,
you saying put the tag titles on 4K?
No. I'm saying, well,
Netflix.
That can be a thing at some point. But what I'm saying is like new. So one, I think of a New Day as one. I agree with Chan. They do need like stalwarts. They need like people who can be pillars for this. You know what I mean? Like they need the next, Road Warrior. Something that can be something beyond this almost.
We're waiting on both tag teams to split up. Basically, it feels like we're waiting on Austin
Exactly.
and Waller to split up, and then we're waiting on the Miz to go. So like it just feels like
Finn and JD are the tag team champions now. So
oh, you're right. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
even then, I'm waiting on Finn to lead the Judgment Day.
Yeah, but for the New Day though, it's like what I'm thinking is like if they were to get into the mix of the tag titles, I think either winning and then having some sort of thing kind of go wrong or losing could be a good segue into if they're gonna do like certain things. It could be a good segue into potentially exploring no more like New Day or like a pause in the New Day with because you got to think about. I think about Woods and Kofi and where they are now, and I'm like, yo, it's time for y'all to get into some Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Edge, Christian shit. Y'all gotta like, y'all can't be cool like this all the time. I need to see something. So I think that's another thing I think too is like in involving some teams who may touch the title or not, you can keep you can one have eventually get to the point where we have somebody strong with the title. I do not know what that is, so who that is, so I didn't even
It's
try
the
to
Street
name them.
Profits. That's what it is. The Street Profits need to
Honestly,
get it. Bobby,
I
I'm
feel like it's
sorry.
so obvious,
B-Fab,
but
B-Fab, I'm sorry, but you're holding my sons back. And you need to let them get them tag belts, bro. I'm sorry.
so
Like,
yep.
be for
And to
real.
that point, you got Judgment Day holding the titles. You can get Street Profits holding the titles, but to keep, because I'm the kind of person that likes to keep that mid card and everything going around it crazy or whatever, to keep all of the stories around the tag titles interesting. You could have something like that happen so that it's not always just, hey, we're a bunch of tag teams and you haven't seen us on 2 weeks. We want a shot like that. I feel like that's the story all the
Yes.
time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I've got a few thoughts. First, with regards to the New Day, they're just not that high up on the pecking order anymore, and that's okay. Like they had their time. Vince era, they were the stalwarts that people wanted them to be, and with H just made it pretty clear, like these guys are still going to be around. They're still going to give you good matches, cool character segments, but like they're not necessarily like a priority, especially in this rebuilding tag division. And I think that kind of leads into the next point that I was going to make is like WrestleMania 40 was very much so a moment mania. Like every single match or title change was about a big moment for people. And it was also the signal of like a reset of the entire show. The only people who retained their titles were Logan Paul and Rhea Ripley. And Rhea got hurt, so she had to give hers up. Like we've got all new champions right now. And so everyone is building new stories and like they're rebuilding divisions. And I've been patient with it. I too was on the train where I was like, all right, Theory and Waller, I really like their team, and Theory's actually grown on me, but I'm ready for them to give up the titles. I was ready for Miz and Truth to give them up after like the first PLE because they would only defend on TV. And so I like that Finn and JD have them. I don't think they'll have them very long. I was kind of surprised that they ended up getting those titles, but it just shows how much stroke Liv
Them
has.
Triple H's boys, though. Them just Triple H's
They are,
boys. He loved them some
yeah.
Finn and JD, bro.
Absolutely, yeah. Finn just re-signed recently, so
That's his dog.
Finn was leaving with something.
He said, "I'm gonna need a check and a title, my boy."
Yeah.
He said,
As far as SmackDown, Street Profits, I love them, and I've been ready for them to get the titles back too. But I'm just like, damn, if they haven't gotten them back in 3 years now, like I don't know when it's gonna happen because it seems very much so telegraphed for DIY to win those titles from Theory and Waller, then Theory and Waller break up. I would love some Street Profits DIY matches. I'm trying to think of the other tag teams on SmackDown right now. I think it's just
LWO, Legato.
No, no, LWO's on Raw. Legato's on SmackDown. SmackDown needs a couple more men's tag teams, like the Raw men's.
Well, they're
tag
all
team.
in the Bloodline. That's why, because all 8 of them are in the Bloodline. They have a number of tag teams. They're just all wrestling each other because they're all cousins.
Hey, and shit, there might be a world where KO and Randy win those titles, to be honest. But
hey, man, I honestly think I like the first chance I get with the extra money or whatever, I get some extra money, I could just do that. I'm probably getting a couple RKO shirts. One just
them
to
shirts hard.
Frame, one just to frame, and one to actually wear.
Them shirts is hard.
All my sons, DIY versus KO and Randy Orton. This all Triple H's sons.
That's heat, boy.
All my kids.
That's heat.
Look, all my kids.
That's fire. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like I really did think the A-Town Down Under win that Mania was a cool moment, but like
it was.
But H has been so focused. His priority has clearly been building up the women's tag team division, which is which is pretty hot right now. You got Bianca and Jade, though it doesn't. I don't. They're not going to get the titles back, but I think they're going to get a rematch with the Witches. You have Damage Control, of course. You have Nia and Tiffany, who I think are going to get a title shot soon. Like, there's a lot going on there, but he's building so many different things at the same time that like something has to fall by the wayside. And I think the priority has been everything but the men's tag teams, and A-Town Down Under and Ms. Truth, now Finn and JD, are interesting enough to where what limited TV time and matches they get still have been good. And I do think we're going to see a shakeup eventually, but I don't think it's definitely not going to be the New Day. And I don't think it's going to be the Street Profits anytime soon. And that is no disrespect to my black brothers. Love them. Love to see black people succeed. But yeah, man.
As long as it's not the Viking Raiders, I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't think
can't.
that's gonna happen.
I've seen the Viking Raiders live when I saw SmackDown, and it's just,
oh, come on, man.
It's just not for me.
Oh man. Well, it's funny we was talking about H's booking so much, because as good as H is booking, he and his team have become incredibly excellent at pacing this show. Like, I was watching, I think it was whatever this week is. Oh yeah, so like the last week's Raw. And I got to like, I think it was like maybe like 10:15, 10:20 before I really like checked the time. And I'm like, shit, like this is almost over. And this is a 3-hour show. So that's like one thing that I've noticed over these last couple shows. And it's not just the shows, because this used to bother me too. Even as a kid, I would hate sort of the highs and lows of the WWE PPVs and now PLEs. You get moments, and then like the down really felt like a down. And between both the shows, and this includes NXT, the shows and shit, even like some of their like they're just general YouTube digital stuff that they do outside of that. Especially when it's like backstage stuff, or even your vignettes or whatnot, and how those vignettes are like woven into live shows when we bring that back. Capped with how they're doing their PLEs, you're not really getting those moments of downtime. What you're getting is like riding on steady waves, is what you're getting. And then all of a sudden you catch like a really big one, but the other ones are not boring. You know what I mean? They're just really nice, and they get you to the next one. So I think that's something that honestly I don't think I've actually ever seen in my lifetime. When I was growing up, it was Crash Dummy TV or whatever. So like it felt like there was like a flow, but I've mentioned before on a podcast, I'm sludging through this because it's really hard to watch or whatever. But I'm on like 99, late 99 going into 2000 Raw or whatever. And dude, when it is not Stone Cold, when it's not The Rock, when it's not Mankind or The Undertaker, it's really not them. It's just not them. It's to a point where I'll be watching the shows and I'm like, oh, Al Snow's here, thank God. Like, go ahead.
And I feel like even the Bloodline era with Roman, it was like that a little bit. Like, there were interesting things going on, but the Roman Bloodline segments were the peak of everything, and the other stuff was like, I could watch this. I don't have to watch this, but lately I completely agree. I'm getting so immersed in everything that I'm not noticing the time is going by. I literally am getting into like flow state with the show, where I feel like I'm moving along with it. Like, bro, I went to MSG SmackDown this past Friday, and when I finally did check the clock and realized, it's 9:30, I was like, holy shit, this show flew by. Like,
Bro,
the opening. Yeah, the opening segment with the Bloodline, Cody, KO, all that. The qualifiers were all good, well paced. Like, they got time, but it wasn't too much time. The backstage segments, the LA Knight, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton stuff, like all of that. It was all just interesting. Like, it's hard to find a bathroom segment. Like, thankfully I use YouTube TV, so I can just pause it and get up and go rather than watching on live TV. But my God, like, Raw too. Raw is the one that, like you said, it's especially it's a 3-hour. Like, sometimes when you get to that 10 o'clock hour, it's like, all right, like, let me just power through until I get to the main event, because I know the main event's probably going to be good. But the stuff that's happening at 10 o'clock, 10:15, that's also interesting too. It's incredible. So I got to give them a lot of credit for building so many things. The Gable stuff, the Gable and the Wyatt Six stuff, all the women stuff, Damage Control, all the Judgment Day stuff. There's so many things going on that you care about it all, and you're immersed in it all, and you don't feel the time passing you by. You don't feel like your time's being wasted. Nothing feels like it drags.
Yeah.
So I completely agree.
And I think a part of the not being wasted is, I think it's partially a large part due to just the production. Like, you watch Raw or SmackDown, and it's like, yes, the Shield will come out through the crowd, but they just have so many different angles where, okay, Jimmy or Sammy's gonna come through the crowd, and then Chad's gonna walk through this, and then we're gonna have Kathy come out and do the interview here. And it's just like, instead of it being like walk out from the front, match, walk to the back, interview, and it's like it was much more routine where you can kind of get kind of into that lull, because they even just switch up the camera angles, or they switch up just these different things. It kind of keeps you going. And I think really what Triple H said, by this time you hear this, probably like 2 weeks ago, but the thing about this is not a sport. This is a movie about sports. And when you think about it that way, that's like, it makes so much more sense, because it's like, yeah, when I'm watching a 2-hour movie, there can't be a lull for 15 minutes or I'm just going to turn this movie off. It's like, no, even if it's not the main character in this scene, there needs to be something moving it forward. There needs to be something intriguing. I think that kind of view of wrestling is like, helps you make it more interesting. Whereas like, if you're just viewing this as like, this is to be a quasi sport, you're gonna have bad games and good games. You're gonna, like, if you watch a football game, there can be a 20-minute period where nothing happens and it's very fucking boring. Or like a basketball game where like they're just missing shots and you have those lulls. But like, if you're watching, Remember the Titans, they're not showing you 3 and outs. Like, that's not happening. Like, and I think that is like the mindset that Triple H has really brought, along with, say, with the production and the roster and the different stories. But I just think that mindset of like, no, this is a continuous product. It's not a collection of storylines that lead to a pay-per-view. It's like, no, this is a 3-hour movie. This is a 2-hour movie. Okay, next week, a 3-hour movie and a 2-hour movie. And then you can have Avengers, every month, or, those like team up movies. Those are the PLEs, but like each show is its own little movie. And I think that just mindset really makes it interesting. Because you said, yeah, I'll be watching SmackDown and Solo will come up like, dang, it's 9:45. I guess it's almost over. Like, I didn't even realize that. I'm thinking it's going to be more stuff. And especially when you think about, like, in a different era, it could be really bad, because so much of SmackDown is the bloodline. It's truly like 60% of the show, from start to finish. And then same with the Judgment Day. Like, the Judgment Day basically, like, at least close 90% of Raws at this point. So it's like, you could really get sick of seeing JD McDonough if it wasn't done well. Like, Carlito is just kicking it with them, and I'm entertained by it every week. Like, it's just, they're doing it so well. It just really makes you see it like, yeah, in another storyline, like, I'm not going to talk about any other people, but just every other week bringing out the main eventer's cousins, it would get boring. You'd be like, okay, bro, like, all right, like, this is some other guy. Because I'm speaking to someone who does not watch like indie wrestling. I don't know anything about half these Samoans. But when I see the production, when I see Tonga crawling out, I'm like, okay, I'm in. When I see Jacob Fatu coming out with the wolf thing, it's like, I'm in, because it was done well. It was presented in a way that made sense to me. It was done like, oh, this is the new big bad. It wasn't just like, here's this indie wrestler who's super popping you should know about. It's like, oh, I don't watch New Japan. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not familiar with this game. Like, and so I think it's really like just done in such a way where it's like, yeah, in another person's hands, in Vince's hands, this could have got A, kind of racist, and B, just very poorly done.